Okay, well, welcome everyone, it's Nicola Cairncross here, and I've just done my first marketing consultation of the year, which is a 1 to 2 hour session with a new client. And basically I take them through a sort of nine-step process, and we come out at the end and either they've got a plan to go away with and work on for the rest of the year, which is what my friend Neil Asher does, calls me up about once a year and then goes away and works on it. Or we can go on to work together with me holding your hand every step of the way. So I thought it might be useful if I took you through what happens in one of those sessions, and then you can either go away and work on it on your own, or you can book yourself into my diary to talk about it in more detail. So what I'm going to do is I want you to imagine, I want you to get a pen and paper, pause this video right now, get yourself a pen and paper, and I want you to come back and I want you to look me straight in the eye as if I was on the other end of a Zoom call to you and that I was asking you these questions. And you can either pause as you go, or you can watch the whole video once through to see what kind of questions I'm going to be asking you, and then go back and pause the video as you go, step by step. I'll put in some chapters down below so that you know where each bit is, so you can come back and go backwards and forwards through it quite easily. And do the easy bits quick. That's how I achieve anything really. Do the easy bits quick, and then come back to the more difficult bits and the bits that need more thinking time. Because you will know a lot of these answers already, and if you don't, then those are the areas in your business you need to focus on in 2023. So let's start off with the initial questions. I'll ask you to tell me a bit about your life. I need to know what your home situation's like, how old you are, what kind of background you came from, all just that stuff. It usually takes about 10 minutes. And I want to know about your family setup and the support you've got. And I also want to know about any resources you might have apart from your business. Because I often find that when people have got a lot of resources behind them, they're not as serious about building a business as they could be. So it helps me to know that. The other thing I ask them is, have they done any psychometric testing? Have they done any personality testing? And the two that I seriously recommend are the Roger Hamilton's Wealth Dynamics profile, which you can find if you just do a search online. Costs about $70, worth every blooming penny, let me tell you. And I've just done the Jordan Peterson Know Myself personality test, which I found incredibly insightful and accurate as well. And I think that was about, I don't know, $10, $12, something like that. So I would definitely go and do those two before you get in touch with me, if you're going to. That's the kind of thing I would want to know about in this first part of the get to know you sort of consultation. The next thing I want to do is I want to hear all about your business. I want to hear about what you do, who you do it for, what got you started, why you love it so much or why you don't. I also want to know what your personal goals are first. I want to know what your personal financial goals are particularly, as well as your lifestyle goals. Where do you want to be living, and who do you want to be living with? I often get my clients to write out a Tuesday exercise. Tell me about your Tuesday in 10 years' time, or tell me about your Tuesday in 5 years' time. Tell me about your Tuesday in 2 years' time. Tell me about your Tuesday in 1 year's time. Tell me about your Tuesday in 6 months' time. And that'll tell me a lot about how you want your business to serve you going forwards. So let's break down some personal 10-year goals, 5-year goals, 2-year goals, 1-year goal, and then we can take it from there. Because I usually like to work with people for at least a year. And then we'll work out what your business has to do to achieve those personal goals for you. Quite a lot of people don't realise about resale value of businesses. They don't understand about, the taxation involved. They really don't have a grasp on what their business can do for them and how it gets taxed, and then what we can pay them. So we need to know about all of those things. But first of all, we need to know what your goals are. What do you envisage your business doing for you over the next 10 years? So that's the first question to answer there. Okay, then we'll talk about where the business is now and where it needs to be in order to fulfill your goals. So we'll try and work out what the biggest gaps are, because often if you can close a few of the biggest gaps or identify the weakest links in the chain, then it can have a massive impact on your business. Whereas if you fiddle around just, working on some of the details, it won't have such a big impact. So let's look for the biggest gaps in your business between where it is now and where it needs to be in order to fulfill your personal goals. Right, then let's talk about, as I say, how to close those gaps. What's the easiest, fastest, quickest, cheapest way to do it? And are those ways in alignment with you, the business owner? Because it's all very well. I'll never forget a story once when a friend of mine, very successful friend of mine now, we were both on our uppers in the global financial crisis. We'd both been made bankrupt and we were both starting again from scratch. And I said to him, I just said to Andy, what do I do? What do I do? Basically asking him what's the easiest, fastest, cheapest, quickest way to the money. And he said, I don't know what you're going to do, Nicola. I know what I'm going to do, but I can't tell you what to do because you just won't go and do it. And basically what he would do if he was in my position is he'd go up and down the high street asking every single business owner if they wanted a website. Now, he knows that I would never do that in a million years. Never, 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 never. I'd rather starve. So he knew that I had to find my own way to attracting customers because the way he would have done it just wasn't the way I could do it. So that's what you've got to think about. You've got to, a good idea is to brainstorm all the different ways you could achieve filling the gaps between where your business is now and where it needs to be. And then just knock off the things you know that you're never going to do. And then let's hone 1 or 2 or maximum 3 of the ways that you could build your business and the way that you would enjoy to build your business. And will, taking those actions, achieve your goals for your business that will then fulfill your personal goals. Then I'd like to take a little bit of a step back because we've been focusing on the big stuff now, and I want to just get a bit nitty-gritty down in the weeds with what you're doing right now that may or may not be working. So I want to know every social media platform you're on. I want to know every bit about your products. I want to know which is your lead products, which is your most profitable products, what you sell in which order to your customers, and then how you attract your customers. How do you get eyeballs to your offers, as I like to call it? And often this is the place where we find out that the business is standing still because they haven't got a replicatable, repeatable, hands-off system for attracting new customers or even for attracting new leads that they might be able to turn into customers. I'll ask you lots and lots of detail and you'll probably squirm a bit as you're telling me stuff and you'll tell me about all the things you would think you were going to do, all the things you've been planning to do, and actually then you have to come and tell me what you've actually been doing and it's not quite so much fun. But I'll give you lots of reassurance along the way because I can promise you I've had so many different businesses that have failed. I've had a few notable ones that have succeeded, and I've tried absolutely everything in the course of getting those businesses going. So you can relax knowing that anything you've done, I've done worse. The next thing we do is look at who needs to do all the jobs, because if we're going to gear up, one of the biggest hurdles to gearing up your business is the back of the mind sensation you're going to have that it's all going to be so much more work for you to do. I used to feel like that, so I wouldn't start any new initiatives in my business on the marketing front because I knew that it would all be me doing it. And finally, my business partner at the time, Neil Asher, managed to convince me that I should be thinking not in terms of how can I do this, but who could do it for me. And I'll tell you something, the brakes really come off on your business when you start thinking like that. Because when you're not actually the person who's going to be doing all the work, it frees you up to come up with a lot more exciting business and marketing ideas than you would have had if it was going to be you doing all the work. At this point, I'll have to gently disabuse you of the notion that you can hire a cheap VA from the Philippines who'll be able to do absolutely everything straight out the bat. Basically, you can get these paragons of virtue, but they always have to be trained up by you. So if you're not willing to do that, then it's often a better route to go to hire 5 different specialists who already have the skills that you need and weave them together in a sort of a daisy chain, or swim lanes they're called actually, of passing a task to the next person. And we managed to go from nothing to quite a substantial run rate, and within 3 months at the business that Neil and I built together, by getting a team of people and taking them right through from the beginning of the creation. Neil used to start by writing a blog post, and then we took that into audio, we took it into video, we took it onto every social media platform, and it actually ended up being a digital marketing magazine, which you can still get your hands on Amazon actually, if you go and look for the Raw Local Digital Marketing Magazine. I think it was called a Digital Marketing Insider, and you can still get all the episodes on Amazon, and they were really damn good because he really knows his stuff about marketing and building a business. So do go and take a look at that on Amazon, the Digital Marketing Insider. It was a very sexy looking thing indeed, but it all started from Neil writing a blog post twice a week. And then the next thing to do is to come back to your timeline. And what I want to do is take your 1 year goal and break it down to 3-month goals, and then into a 1-month goal, and then into 4 weekly goals, so that we can actually know that if you take these actions this week, and then they lead into these actions this month, and then they lead into these actions this quarter, then in this half year, then this year, we'll know that you're on track. And the most wonderful thing about timelining your ambitions and your tasks and your goals like that, you don't end up burning yourself out. Because I used to have this terrible thing that I used to have to want to work all the time, because I felt like if I just worked harder, I'd get there quicker. And actually you do, but you burn yourself out as well. And in my case, I had 2 small children, so I constantly felt that I should have been working when I was with the kids, that I should be with the kids when I was working. And if I'd known about this timelining method, then I wouldn't have felt so bad when I was with the kids having a good time, and vice versa. Right, we're nearly there now, but what I like to do at this point in the consultation is check in with how the client feels. How do you feel about what we've been talking about? Do you feel excited? Do you feel terrified? Do you feel overwhelmed? What's your gut telling you about what we've been talking about? If you feel excited and ready to start work, then that's a really good sign. If you're feeling overwhelmed and depressed and like you're not going to be able to do it, then I think that's when we have to go back to the beginning and work out which bits are making you feel like that. I'm a great believer in trusting your gut instinct, and I think if you feel that something's wrong and that you don't like it, you don't want to do it, it's not for you, it's not you, it's not who you are as a core person, then I think we have to go back to the drawing board. But most often, if the conversation has ebbed and flowed properly, then you're going to be feeling excited and stimulated and positive and optimistic and ready to start work tomorrow, if not this afternoon. We also at this stage want to brainstorm what's going to throw a spoke in the wheel, what's going to derail you, what black swan events could come along, what's the most ludicrous, outlandish, ridiculous thing that's going to stop you doing the things we've talked about. If we can work out what the obstacles are, either practical, emotional, mental, financial, then we can actually put in some supportive structures in place to make sure that these things do not derail you and stop you achieving your goals. And finally, we set up the next call, and if you're not going to be coming back for another call in the near future, I'll send you away with a little structure to review yourself once a week. So what you need to be able to do is check in with yourself weekly, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, 1 yearly, if you're going to go off and do all this by yourself. I would suggest literally on a Monday morning sitting down and having a little meeting with yourself and going through all the things that you said you were going to do last week and move things forward if they still need doing, or work out what you're going to be doing this week. It's all about tackling the big stuff. In traction, Gino Wickman calls them the boulders, the rocks, the pebbles and the sand. And he literally advises tackling the big stuff first, in the same way that I advise tackling the easy stuff first. So go for the big, quick, easy wins first, and then you'll find that you've got plenty of time left for the rest of it. And sometimes by tackling one of those big, quick, easy things, you're going to make such a massive difference in your business that the momentum will carry you through all the rest of your to-do list for that week. Generally, I find doing the thing that scares me most is the best thing to do first. And finally, we'll have a bit of a chat about time management, just to make sure that you've actually got some time set aside to achieve these things, because it's no good if you then hang up on the Zoom meeting and go away and your entire family claims your time and attention for the next week. We'll have a chat about the days of the week you're available, the times of each day you're available, and we'll have a long, hard, realistic look to make sure that you've actually got the time available to you to achieve the things you want to do. Otherwise, you're just going to feel pulled in all directions and you won't be a happy entrepreneur at all. Anyway, I hope this helps. I hope this was useful. This is exactly the structure I would go through with a new client or a marketing consultation client. There's a lot more meat on the bones in there, but that gives you the basic outline and you can make a start on doing this process for yourself. Or don't forget, you can always book into my diary at clicksandleads.com/diary, and I'll be delighted to go through this with you. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.